before the race, if you had told me I'd start seventh and finish third, I would have taken it. Um, Obviously, we were behind. We had really good pace, and we were behind Stanek. But the problem is, if you don't get past in in 2, 3 laps, you grain the tires, and if you're too close for too many laps, you just overheat everything, and you lose pace. You drive to the pace of the car in front. So I didn't quite get my opportunity to get past him, which then caused me to lose a lot of pace. But I think today it would have been a different story if I had just gotten past, and if I had some fresh air, we were actually really fast. And obviously, it was unfortunate losing the position to Dennis. I think I got too close to Roman, and then I just had a lot of understeer, and then he got, he took advantage of that, and he drove well, and he passed me. So obviously, after the race, we finished fourth, and we got the podium as the winner. Got a 10-second penalty. Not the way I would have liked to finish on the podium, but I mean, after all the bad luck that's happened to me this year already, I'll definitely take it. And obviously, that's 2 back-to-back podiums as well. So very positive for me and the team.
Congratulations, Kush Maini. Yes, 2 back-to-back podiums. Thank you for taking time to talk to me literally close to midnight in Melbourne time. But you've actually given a very good summary of your sprint race, which is what happened today. Can we just relive what happened at the start? Because it was a very interesting start. Your teammate got taken out by another Campos racing car. You of course benefited from it because you could just zip past on the outside line and make all the moves. I think you got 2 cars at the start or something, but how did you see the crash? Was it at the corner of your eye and you knew you had to just be clean and make your moves?
I remember getting a really good start, and then I had to, like, I was forced to go to the outside, and then I just saw, like, a lot of the cars that should have been there not there. Like, it just seemed like a lot less cars in front of me. And then my focus was just trying to brake late for turn one because I was on the outside. Um, I brake late, but I could see in the corner of my eye 2 cars coming close to me, and I was like, I don't want my race to finish in turn one. So I opened up the corner and went wide on the AstroTurf, which made me lose 2 positions. But I think if I had tried more, we probably would have had contact with the 2 cars in front. So it was more of a safe approach there. And yeah, we were P5. And then obviously there was that big fight with with the high tech and another car. It's you remember so fast, but we got, I think, 2 positions there when that fight was taking place, and took advantage of Antonelli obviously trying to fire it down the inside of 2 cars, and then I got them on the exit. So yeah, it was a very eventful race, and happy to come out of it with a trophy.
Yeah, and you stayed clean through all of that chaos, which is always tough, especially in a track like Albert Park. But I'm going to just go back to the start of your answer because you said you had a very good start. Now, if we compare this start to the start you had in Saudi Arabia, was it as good? Was it a little better? Was it a little slower? Just in terms of how good was the start for you?
Obviously, every track's different, and Saudi we had super softs with a lot more track. Here it's less track grip in the medium, so naturally the start will not be as quick. But for the Melbourne standards, it was a good start, and I think it was better than the cars around me. So we were definitely on the attack from the get-go, which is very positive. I think this year, the team is responsible for the clutch map. I just have to follow a procedure to the best that I can. And my starts this year have been one of the best on the grid every race. So hats off to my data engineer, and he's doing a great job.
You have one more start to make tomorrow, which we'll talk about later on in this interview. But you also touched upon this battle with Roman Stanek, the eventual winner after Hadjar got a penalty. Let's sort of relive that because for a lot of laps, you had DRS while trying to overtake him, right? In fact, there were times when he did not have DRS, but you actually had DRS. So he didn't have DRS because Hadjar was several seconds ahead. How do you read the situation? Did you not have the top line pace to get him? Did he have a different setup where he, without DRS, could stay ahead of you?
A lot of teams choose to run different rake, which is basically the car more on the nose, which in turn makes it more draggy, more aero. So you would naturally gain downforce but lose straight line speed. Then obviously front wing makes a difference as well to a certain extent. So yeah, I think today I didn't quite have the speed to get close enough to him. I mean, I was right on him through all the corners, but I was just like maybe 1/10 or half a tenth behind actually like getting the full effect of DRS and passing him. So it's a bit frustrating because I think we definitely had the pace to uh, fight for the win even if we got past him soon enough. So in that sense, it's a bit frustrating, but obviously tomorrow will be a different story. Today is a reverse grid, and it's naturally going to be more messy. Tomorrow's, where you qualify, so everyone in front is really quick, and it'll be a faster paced race at the front probably.
Let's hope so, because you are starting P4 in the feature race and sticking still on the DRS. And this is where it gets fun to have such conversations with you and get a driver's perspective. Because what's happened is in the last two races, you actually have had drivers who've used DRS to overtake you. All right. But you've not successfully made a DRS enabled overtake. If I remember, Fittipaldi overtook you in Jeddah. And then today it was Dennis Hauger just there. Is it down to setup? Because social media has gone completely berserk in saying Invicta and Kush need to figure their tire management and race pace out because they're really quick in a single lap pace and their tires are just getting shot in battle. But of course, a lot of this is armchair critics, people who watch it from the outside. What's actually happening in these battles with the other drivers using DRS? You sort of not being able to make the most of it, tires getting shot. Is it down to setup? Is it down to tires? Can you elaborate more?
Well, today was clear. I think at the pace at which we caught Stanek, we were obviously way quicker, and I in F2, what people need to realize is there's a lot of dirty air in a track like this, and if you get stuck behind a driver for too long and you can't make the move in 1-2 laps within catching him, everything starts overheating. Your front tires start overheating because it's not getting fresh air. Your aero isn't working properly in the fast corners, and that in turn heats the surface of the tire, which then in turn means less grip. And if you have less grip, no deg, anything like that's going to save you. That's called thermal deg. And then there's a different deg, which is actually like losing rubber, which we don't have with mediums. In this track, we don't lose rubber. It's just thermal. So it's getting it right, picking your moments, and being there at the right time, at the right gap with the DRS and trying to make the move. Because if you get stuck for too long, it doesn't matter how quick you are. If you get stuck behind a slow car for 2 laps, you're going to go at his pace. That's Formula 2, and that's the nature of the sport. So,
Right.
yeah.
Interesting, because after you sort of lost that momentum, like you said, you understeered when you got too close to him. Dennis Hauger then, overtook you just a lap or two before the end. You were, of course, a gentleman. You saw him coming. You opened up the corner so you all don't have contact. But why is it that a driver like Hauger, who was also in battle, could then, despite having probably chewed his tires up as well, still be able to make the overtake on you so late into the race?
Yeah, I think Dennis played it slightly smarter than I did. He was obviously me, him, and Stanek were exactly the same gap for like 4 or 5 laps. But what he did was he dive bombed me completely, and I think Dennis knows that I'm more of a smart driver. We've had battles in the past, and I've always been respectful. So he sort of, when you do moves like that, you have to kind of judge who you're doing it against. And he played that perfectly because he dive bombed me into the corner to try and make me lose the DRS against Stanek. And as soon as he dive bombed me, I had to go defensive, and the DRS started 2 corners after that, and I was away from 1 second from Stanek. So had I kept DRS, there's no way he was passing me,
True.
But I lost it, which he did really well in. So that's the only reason he got past. That's how you have to do it. You have to fake a move, but then there's a lot of risk in that for 1 point, which for me, all my years of racing, for me, it's not worth it because sometimes when it goes wrong, you lose 6 points instead of gaining 1. So
That's a smart way to put it. And my final point for tomorrow, and you said, you've got the pace, you've got a feature race ahead. What are your key learnings from today that you will take into the race tomorrow, apart from not having a fake move like some of your rivals pulled off on you?
I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I think he did a brilliant race, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, definitely smarter than me today. I think picking my moments and not getting too close to cars in front for too long, because overheating is a real issue here, and of safety car restarts are important. It's very tough on this track to get your tires up to temperature, and tomorrow the race is earlier, so track temps even lower. So that's going to be even more of a struggle. So first lap will be interesting because fronts are really difficult to warm up here. But it'll be interesting to see on strategy what everyone does. The super softs, I don't think are going to survive a lot, especially with heavy fuel at the start of the race. So you naturally have a better chance getting more laps out of the super soft if you put them in the end, but then you make yourself vulnerable for safety cars. So there's a lot of thinking that goes into and different scenarios that goes into a feature race. But there's a lot of luck involved in feature races as well in Formula 2. But pace is a big thing, and I think we have that. So tomorrow, like I said, everyone in the front is going to be similar pace. So I'm expecting more of a calm race.
Fingers crossed. And how confident are you actually of your long run pace and the team's ability to pull out a good strategy, because you are starting up front in the second row?
Yeah. At the end of the day, I finished P3 today from P7. I finished P2 in a feature race last weekend. And Bahrain, I came from 22nd to 7th. So it's very easy to say that the pace is bad in the race, but it's there. F2 is all about where you start and what's happening. And I know that if I get free air, we'll be as quick as anyone and as quick as our quali pace. So um, I think it's just about getting there. And obviously, my focus is points, and I want to finish every race. So no risks, but um, calculated risks, and yeah, hopefully we can show what we can do in the race tomorrow.
You sound like Alan Prost when you talk of calculated risks and getting points, but wish you all the best, hoping that you maximize your point score. A lot of Indian fans are waiting to see the Indian national flag on the top step of the podium and hear the Jana Gana Mana. So, fingers crossed it happens tomorrow. And of course, you're going to be battling another driver I know really well, Dennis Hauger, as well. So, best of luck to you, Kush. And thank you once again for talking to me for FanCode.
No worries. And once again, thank you to all the Indian fans. Every single message means a lot. And, coming from a country that racing wasn't that big a few years ago, seeing how many people are interested and seeing how many people are pushing me forward and sending positivity towards me is just a very happy moment for myself. And please keep sending your positive energy, and it's really helping.